What's going on, people? I don't know. I was sitting here just staring at the screen, and it's like I'm reading the things like "you are live." I'm like, huh. Oh, I mean, they gotta start talking, right? It's weird. I don't know. It's like I haven't done this before, but I have. You know what I'm saying? Either way. So here's the thing. Got some of these AEW figures. It's what Unmatched Series 7, according to what I'm reading on the screen. So got these. Gonna talk about them real quick. In between, probably do some rambling about AEW related things because this is an AEW related thing, and that just makes a little bit of sense. I will say, before this happened, I was sitting down, I was listening to Millencolin. Big fan of them, right? Little punk rock type band from, I think, Sweden, right? So, either way, I was listening to them, and so I kind of wanted to keep that going. So, you might hear some music in the background. If you do, let me know, and I can like turn that down unless you're watching this after the fact, in which case, what's done is done. So, either way, let's go ahead and get on into this. Let me grab my things here because like a responsible adult, I do buy a lot of these little bags and stuff so I can keep the extra pieces labeled so I can throw them in a drawer so they're at least somewhat organized. Either way, so first up, actually, real quick, one thing that I will say that some people may not know, but on the sides of these AEW figures, how was your day? My day was okay. It was the first day of, and well, it wasn't the first day into the new year, but it's the first work day, so it's kind of like the first real day because yesterday I just sat at home and watched. I think I watched a movie yesterday, and then mostly just sat around and enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to make any more shoe reviews for like the next however long. I mean, I don't have any, so that's all behind me for the while. But yeah, what about yourself there, William? How was your day? Now that you've gotten all in my business. But anyway, so on the sides they have these letters, right? You know, on one side it says Series 7, and they're all numbered. And then they have these letters, right? So if you look at all of them, you know, like up next to each other, they do eventually spell something. In this particular case, it spells thunder, so that's kind of cool. Other ones have spelled out like extreme or hardcore or supreme or unmatched or whatever, you know. But to get the whole thing spelled out, you do have to get like the chase also. So it's kind of one of those things. Just went back today from a long break. My break was not very long, but it was still good. You know, I mean, work isn't really super intense for me. You know, I'm a computer guy, right? It's not that serious. But anytime I do get a break, it's nice, right? Because as much as I do like my job and whatnot, I do like being at home a whole lot more. It's just that I got to go to work to keep the money coming in. So that's kind of where we are now. CM Punk, right? Now, there's a lot people might say about this guy. I get it, you know. I was on board with him the whole time. You know, all that stuff was going on. People, oh my God, CM Punk's a terrible person and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I mean, in the media perhaps, but like I don't really know the guy. And from what I see, he seems to be fine. You know, so I just kind of went with it. And, you know, figured not everybody's gonna like everybody. I don't like Roman Reigns, and he's done nothing to me other than like bore me by being on my TV for like long periods of time when I don't ask for it. So I get it, you know. But at the end of the day, as it turns out, things went all right for the guy because he's back in his WWE world doing all that stuff, probably making like crazy amounts more money. And they'll probably be putting out hopefully some nice AEW, or excuse me, WWE. What do you call them? The now I can't even think of the word. Ultimate Edition figures. These come with this little poster, right? I'm not gonna unravel this. I feel like it's just this. I believe it's just like the same type of design you see on here, and it's not worth my time. But this right here, let's go ahead and get this thing out of his little plastic prison. So this is one of those LJN style figures that a lot of people always talk about. You know, like, oh wow, I really liked those when I was younger. I didn't have any of these when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? So these mean mostly nothing to me. I like this one because it's CM Punk and I like him. You know, got that poster on the wall, right? You've probably seen me in a shirt or two of his. So there is that. But this right here, just kind of looking at it, I wish this thing would focus a little bit more, but you know, it's going to do what it's going to do. Either way, the way they did the detailing on here is pretty nice, all things considered. There's not a whole lot going on as far as articulation because it's really just like this one piece mold, but I think it looks pretty decent, so that's cool. Because the only other one that I have out, I think, is the Cody Rhodes one, and that one is pretty pretty plain, right? It's very underwhelming, honestly. But that's just kind of how Cody Rhodes looks. Can't fault him for it. You know, he's just that's just how he presents himself, right? It's got the Billy Idol hair and like the wrestling pants on, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now Thunder Rosa though, this is probably one of my favorite ones out of this pack, I would say. I mean, only because I'm a big fan of hers, right? This isn't my favorite figure of hers. I do really like that Chase one, the one where she's in blue. I don't remember what that's from, but I do know that it's one of the unrivaled, not one of the unmatched, because it's gold, not silver. But either way, so I think I saw her once when I was in Charlotte for a Dynamite maybe or Battle of the Belts. It was for something. But the thing was, like, she didn't have the face paint on, and I mean, even though she usually only does half her face, it's still like I wasn't really sure, you know. And I didn't want to just go up to her and be like, "Are you her?" Is it, you know? I already didn't want to talk to anybody anyway because I always just feel weird doing that. It's like I see these people that I watch on TV, and it's like I would like to say something to them in some ways, but at the same time, it's like I have nothing to say to this person other than like something that they've heard a million times before, which is, "Hey, I really like you on TV," or something along those lines. And so then I just figure I'm not going to waste their time or mine with that. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So there we go. And I got a little bouncing souls going on now. So there you go. There's that, right? It's got the whole half face paint thing. Got some extra hands over here behind my hands. Yellow and black. I don't remember what this is from. According to this, it's from Dark Elevation. So nothing special. It does say on the back where they got the costume idea or whatever. So that's going to be her. Pretty nice. I got no problems with it. Pull this out of here real quick. See if I can get you guys something better. But one of the things, you know, these do have a lot of the articulation. So if you want to stand them in various poses, that's something you should be able to do. I was just doing that with a bunch of Marvel Legends figures the other day that I finally put on my shelf there. Stopped by IKEA last month or the month before, picked up a nice shelf. It's working out pretty well. Ordered a second one yesterday. Should be here in a couple weeks. And at least that's when I scheduled it for. So anyways, Thunder Rosa here. I don't know why she doesn't want to focus, but either way, you got on one side just plain, other side you got the face paint, right? So that's how that whole thing goes. Comes with the extra head as well, so that way you have that. So if you want this tongue out version, you know, whatever, you can switch it up. Overall, like I said, I do really like Thunder Rose. I think she's pretty cool. This isn't my favorite figure, but I do like the black and the yellow, so it does get some points for that. So I think I only have 2, right? I'm trying to think, but I honestly just can't remember what. Because in my room, which I can't see because there's a wall between me and my room right now, I think I have a Thunder Rosa figure in there on that shelf, but it's one of those things where I set that stuff up so long ago, and I see it every day, but now because I see it every day, it's just background stuff, and I don't think about it. I mean, I know there's a Miro on there because for some reason that stands out, and I know there's a Britt Baker because I just picked it up off the floor, and I wondered, how long has this been on the floor? I didn't even remember this figure existing. So I know that's in there. And the Edge that's dressed up from his Cactus Jack match, right? So in the same way he was dressed up on the most recent AEW pay-per-view, that's in there. What else? Who knows? Oh, I actually meant to show this too, but so here's this. This is going to be Hook, right? So I did actually get the Chase as well. Found this at a Walmart the other day. So that's this, as you see, it says like 1 of 5,000. You can kind of see that, right? Usually these come in either 3,000 or 5,000 ratios. So the Chase, not a whole lot different, right? I mean, it's the same dude. It just has different colored shorts. So that's basically it. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same, right? Yeah. Everything else is going to be exactly the same. So I know some people do pay top dollar for the chases, and I get it, right? Because like if you're a completionist, I mean, I've been there. I spent some good money on a Battle Fist, like during the Masters of the Universe 2000 series. Wouldn't do it now, I don't think, but at the time that was my thing, right? So I see some of the prices, and I did pay like $70, I think, for the Chase Thunder Rosa, you know, which is about $50 over retail price because I really wanted it. And when it comes to the action figures, that is the only time I pay over retail. right? I can't do it with the shoe thing. I don't care about the shoes that much. They're just something to be on my feet, and I have plenty of them already. But something about the action figures, it's something I can relate to. Speaking of, here's one right here in my hand. Let's talk about this instead of me. This, like I said, is Hook. So not a whole lot going on. He does have a new tattoo, I think. I think compared to compared to on TV, I think there's something else like on his chest maybe. And I get the camera here doesn't really do a whole lot of the focusing, but just take my word for it. Even though you don't see a lot of the tattoos, the detailing is generally pretty good. So if you saw like the Ruby Soho or the Alistair Black, like Malachi Black, lots of those guys. And he's got this weird Goku kind of hair, like one of those anime things going on. So I get what they were going for. It just kind of comes off weird. So I don't dislike the figure or anything. Maybe if I turn this thing down, maybe that'll keep me out of it so it'll focus a little bit more. So either way, it's a decent figure. Not amazing to me anyways, but it's fine. You know what I'm saying? I always say that like they can't all be winners. That's a thing I throw around a lot. And there's six of these guys here. Somebody's got to come in last. And right now, I honestly think it's going to be the Hook one. Wait, let's see. What is your favorite wrestler in the? I'm going to put this on the screen so people know what I'm talking about here. Who is your favorite wrestler in the WWE/AEW? So, well, I'm going to have to side with Seth Rollins because let me should have said this first. I'm going with people active on the wrestling roster, right? Because otherwise I'd be talking about like, The Undertaker. But speaking as far as who's on TV and wrestling right now, it is kind of like super close between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. And if they were still in both companies, those would be my two answers. However, they are not. And I kind of want to say CM Punk because I really like the guy. He just seems pretty cool. But I'm going to go with the hometown crowd and go with old Seth freaking Rollins because it makes sense, I mean, he is really good. And again, we're from the same place, so that's kind of cool in some ways, right? Actually, the wrestling school that Seth Rollins has, a little wrestling academy, the Black and the Brave or whatever it's called, something like that. It's actually across the street from where my cousin's barbershop used to be. He moved his barbershop to a different place so he could have like a little more space or whatever, a little more traffic. But yeah, random unnecessary fact. But yes, it is going to be Seth Rollins. I mean, there's no flaws in his game, if you will. Everything he does is pretty solid. The matches are great, if you will, right? And he's pretty entertaining on the old microphone. Has some fancy clothes, so that's something, gives you something to look at, right? And he doesn't feel forced on you like they did with that whole Roman Reigns thing or certain other people. It's just like sometimes I get the feeling like, hey, I get that you want me to like this person, but I just can't. So can we stop this? They were doing that with Jamie Hayter for a while, and I was like, I got no problems with this woman, but you're about to make me have a problem with this woman. Let's see. Have I watched the Iron Claw yet? Oh, apparently you haven't watched my super in-depth review that I did. It was not a super in-depth review. It was only no more than 60 seconds because that's how my movie rants are, right? So yes, long story short, I did watch it. Did you watch it? Let's answer that. That's cool to have a hometown wrestler. Yeah, it is, and it's like one of the few because up until Seth Rollins, the only thing that I could think of that was like even remotely from where I'm from, which is Iowa, and he's from the same city. Like the other thing from Iowa is Slipknot, and I don't know where they're from in the state, but it's not the same place. Let's see. Oh, this thing is in here. Dude, like this Ray Phoenix figure did not want to come out. Okay, so let's get back on track for just a second here. And I'm going to put this on the screen because I'm going to come back to it. This right here, Ray Phoenix, right? You guys know him. He's the one half of the Lucha Bros, 1/3 of Death Triangle, right? So, I mean, I assume Death Triangle is still a thing. I hope it's still a thing because it's pretty cool. Either way, so this is one where I wish that it would focus a little bit more, but it is what it is. So he comes with the tag belt, right, which is not something you can see clearly. The reason I'm taking it off is because Usually these guys, this, by the way, this is a nice, very soft color, excuse me, like flashy color, silvery foil color jacket thing he has here. But I want to see if he's got some tattoos under there, so that's why I kind of need that belt out of the way. So there you go. He's got some stuff going on there, and then even down the arms and whatnot, right? So very cool. As far as the way they did it, right? Detailing wise, it's just, I mean, it's not a big thing. I'm sure it takes like no work to do, but just the fact that they do it to me is kind of what makes these figures a little more worth buying, other than just being like, yeah, I kind of like this guy. And so then there you have that. Now, also though, if you do like the Lucha Bros, I would highly suggest if they're around for a decent price on the aftermarkets, Boss Fight Studios. I forget what their line was called, but Boss Fight Studios made a premium Lucha Bros pack. So it was Penta and Ray Phoenix a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Really nice. They don't scale the same way as these. Those are a little bit bigger than these are, but they are very nice to have if you're an action figure guy. So Boss Fight Studios, Penta, Phoenix, look it up because if you can find them for like a decent price, I would definitely suggest doing that. Moving along. And now while I get this thing open, I'm going to talk about, let's turn this up just a little bit. While I get this thing open, I'm going to talk about the Iron Claw because, 60-second clips are not enough to really say much of anything, right? That's why I don't consider shorts to be real content because it's just something that I do to pass the time. I'm going to be doing one after this, actually, talking about some Reebok shoes. Either way, so Iron Claw, right? I thought it was good. I don't really know anything about the Von Erich family. I knew that they existed, and I knew that life was not good for them, right? That was pretty much it. So going into the film, it was like when I saw the George Foreman movie. I didn't know anything about it. I figured, like, I'll just see what happens, and maybe it'll be good. People are saying it's supposed to be good. And it was, It's not a great story. And I say that in the sense that, like, it's not uplifting or whatever, it just kind of, like, brings you down, if anything. But it's told well, it's executed well, all the stuff is good. I mean, the Ric Flair debacle that's valid because that was awkward. Like, the actor wasn't super good, but maybe that was Ric Flair, like, in his earlier days. Maybe he wasn't as, like, entertaining. I don't know. But either way, I watched the movie, and there's all the different parts to it, talking about all the different brothers and stuff. Supposedly one was left out. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty crazy. It, like, makes me want to, like, read a little bit later, kind of fill in some of the blanks on what other stuff happened. Because when you see a movie like that, you have to believe that some of it is kind of like played up for the movie. Some of it might be skipped because maybe it's not something to bring up. So it makes you want to go back later and just kind of read some things. So that's kind of what I did a little bit of. I read about Kerry Von Erich. Yeah, the Texas tornado guy, because he was the one that had like the foot thing. So I mean, that was kind of interesting, But anyway, so yeah, pretty good movie. I would highly suggest it to anybody who's a wrestling fan or even not a wrestling fan, because a good story is a good story. I was just telling this dude at work today because we were talking about wrestling and stuff, and I was telling him about the Mankind book, Have a Nice Day, the first one that he wrote back in like 99, 2000, something like that. Yeah. And I was telling him, yeah, dude, you should read it. I mean, it was the last book I read because I'm not a big reader, so other than comics. But like, it's a good book, even for a non-wrestling person, because like his life is very interesting, Mick Foley. All right. And now, I'm leaving these pieces in here. Figure I can put them in, I can label them after the fact. I don't need to drag this thing out, force you guys to sit through that. Let's see. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that movie on a larger scale. Anyway, so wait, what does that say? I live in Wisconsin, pretty close. Okay, Wisconsin. Have I ever been there? I have not been to Wisconsin. There are a lot of states I haven't been to. I've been to a decent number, maybe a dozen or so. I'd maybe more. I don't know. I'd have to. When I say that, I'm talking about like ones that I've actually been in and like not just driven through. Because I mean, if I said which ones I've driven through, that'd be most of them. Because living in Virginia, I took a road trip to down around like the southern border-ish, right, of the United States, over to San Diego, up to Utah, across through Wyoming and South Dakota, back to Virginia. So covered most of the things, you know. So I've been through a lot of them. Either way, so this right here is, what is he called? Penta L0M. Sometimes it's Pentagon, Penta Junior, Pentagon Zero, whatever. There's a lot of names for this guy, right? But either way, I do like him, think he's really cool. And this figure right here is pretty fantastic. Like, he's got the nice plastic thing here, so it's like it's not super stiff, you know, it's just soft enough. Same on the back. Like the legging things that they did on him, you know, got some nice details, like the dragon type thing going on the sides, right? So you have that. Obviously, he's going to have the belt as well. He's got the zero on the back, so that's pretty cool. It's not going to focus for anything, but the face is also done highly detailed, even down to like the siding on the mask, right? Little tassels on the back. They're not real tassels. It's same plasticky things, kind of like down here, and then got the tattoos all up and down the arms. So I'm thinking this is gonna be the one that wins it. As far as like if I had to rank them, I'll pull them all back out at the end and see what I think is actually my favorite or whatever. But man, this one is probably it, you know. So we'll see though. We'll see. Let's see. Did I see their rocks? I did not. I heard about it, and I'm gonna say this again. I mean, not like I've said it already today, but I bring it up every so often. Oh, and he's got the little hand thing going, his little Cero Miedo thing. But yeah, so here's the thing, right? I am not a fan of The Rock. Ever since where did I put the plastic thing for this? Oh, there it is. Ever since he tried to dismantle the Nation of Domination and take over, I have not been okay with that man. That was in 97, right? Maybe 98. It was a while ago. I get it, but it still hurts deep in here. So, for that reason, I could do without. And you know what's crazy? Actually, one before I go back into this story, let me go back to Pentagon. I was at San Diego Comic Con a few years back. It might have been the 16 or 17 one, 2016 or 2017. I'm walking through, you know, I'm like going over to the Entertainment Earth booth, right? And walking my way, I see this dude. He's like dressed up all crazy. I'm like, wow, that's an interesting look, you know. Didn't realize it at the moment because I didn't really know the guy. It was Pentagon, right? Like he was there. He was in his whole get up because that's how he works, you know. And yeah, so had I known that, I probably could have like gone and met him somewhere in that room. I met Twisted there, you know. I met Kofi Kingston there, Kevin Eastman, right? That should have led with that. That's like definitely the top of the top. Either way, so I'm at going back to the Rock thing. I'm at WrestleMania in Dallas, I think it was. I feel like it was the Dallas one because of where I was sitting. I was opposite of the Titantron or whatever they call it. So I'm there, you know, and like somebody was on stage, you know, and I'm like, oh, I wonder where this is going, you know. And then all of a sudden, like The Rock comes out there, and he's got some flamethrower and all this, and I'm just like, oh, this is where it's going. And I was quite disappointed. I was also almost mildly disappointed at the time in a way about how John Cena ruined a picture that I was taking that night because like somebody was doing something and I was, oh yeah, let me get this shot, right? So I go to take the picture, and as soon as I snap it, like his face appears on the screen and his music kicks off. So now whatever I was trying to capture is not captured, and instead I got this big picture of John Cena. I do like John Cena a lot more nowadays than I did then, but you know, it's just kind of one of those things. At that time, I was like, hey, what's this? You couldn't have waited like 3 seconds, dude? So last, certainly not least, we got Pac here. Thoughts on Eddie Kingston? 1 second. I will answer that in a moment. This is Pac, right? So he's 1/3 of the Death Triangle, which is, you know, with his two other buddies here. Sometimes when they do these AEW series, from what I've noticed, they will, let's see, which one is which? Actually, that one, yeah, that one goes over there. All right, so sometimes when they do these AW sets, they will put out like a couple figures within them that go together, right? It's common with like the tag team. So you saw maybe the most recent Unrivaled, I think, had Private Party and FTR in it. I think that was that one. So in this one, you happen to walk away with Death Triangle, which is pretty cool, right? So there's that. But anyways, let's set this down and move on to this Pac figure. And I saw a Pac also when I was in Charlotte because where I stayed, like the hotel I stayed in, for a Dynamite and for Battle of the Belts, two separate times, was the same one where like the wrestlers happened to stay, you know? So I was like seeing them all coming and going the whole day. It was kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? And I remember seeing Pac and like, he's like not the biggest dude in the world height wise, but dude, he's like as wide as he is tall. It's crazy, you know? Very good shape, that dude. So there you go. He's got like the couple extra heads in here. This one over here has got like the eyes covered up from when was it John Moxley had like blinded him or something. Then he did all those videos where he was like blind in his home and there's like multiple versions of himself. It's really cool. But this one is looking a lot better than the last one, like from series maybe 3. I forget what series the last Pac was in, but the first one that they didn't look quite as good because of him being stuck back at home. They couldn't get like an accurate face sculpt or something. That's what I was told. So this one, I'm guessing that they did because it looks a lot better. So that's very cool. But let's get him out of this here thing, man. Let's see what's going on with this. All right. But yeah, I really do like this blinded one. Kind of reminds me of what's his name? Is it Kenshi? Like the guy from Mortal Kombat? Or I don't even know if he's blind. He might just have that thing on for some reason. But yeah, so there you go. There's the Pac figure. Oh, got a little Bad Religion playing. Any fans of Bad Religion out there? I mean, I'm guessing not because it seems like the music I bring up, people are always just like, I don't know that. But either way, so this is the Pac figure. The hair on the back is a little bit weird, but I guess that was how he had it. I mean, he was like mostly bald all around, but like he had hair on the top, right? Almost like a Wardlow sort of thing going on. And he's got a microphone. He's not really known for speaking, but so that's kind of an odd choice, but not bad. So face sculpt wise, for somebody to be that's basically just a plain dude and nothing really going on there other than an eye patch or whatever, it's actually like one of the better ones. The rest of his body is kind of just plain because that's just how he dresses. So I can't like talk it up like it's like one of the best figures, but it's super well done for him. I think something just fell, maybe. No, I don't know. Yeah, so it's super well done for him, but it's one of those things, you don't want to oversell it. Speaking of, oh wait, no, we got one more thing here. So Eddie Kingston. All right, that's everything, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna hit these questions. I'm gonna circle back, do the and rank these things while I pick them up. So Eddie Kingston. What are my thoughts on him? Honestly, like I think he's pretty entertaining, and this should be the last time I had to bring it up, but that time, one of those times when I was in Charlotte, I was at the hotel and I was standing outside, and then he walked out with Ortiz or Santana. I can never remember which one's which, honestly. The one that wasn't gone for a long time, that one. The shorter one? Either way, like they walked out and Eddie Kingston is like yelling and carrying on, having a good time. And it's like, it was exactly the same Eddie Kingston treatment that you get on TV or if you watch like Being the Elite back when that was a thing, So, wow, this guy like matches up with what I expected. So that's kind of cool because on TV he seems like an all right guy to be around, Like he could be very entertaining. Now, as a wrestler or whatever, I mean, I'm not like amazed by his matches, right? But they do keep my attention. Like when I was amazed by something, it's like was it last February, like Daniel Garcia and Brian Danielson, right? That was like something that'll like amaze you in some ways, or that hour-long tag match with FTR and was it? I think it was FTR and Bullet Club Gold, right? That also very amazing. It was on Collision some time back. But Eddie Kingston's aren't bad. It's just like, again, you can't like oversell it because it's fine. So all in all, I do like the guy. I think he's pretty cool. I'm curious to see like where they go with him because he's got all these titles now. So it's nice to see they're like building something around him, keeping the fans interested. They had him lose a bunch of matches, then he came back, got this big win over his like arch nemesis John Moxley and all that stuff, which is, in my opinion, a very overrated person. Because like when he first came in, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I never really cared about the Dean Ambrose thing, but this is holding my interest. But then it didn't really change. It's just like the same thing every time. I was like, he just comes in there, does his little walk back and forth. It's like, I'm mad. He was like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude. No, you're not. So either way, thumbs up on the Eddie Kingston. John Cena. Let's go and get this on the big screen, shall we? John Cena. So you think he's overrated? All right, that's fair. A lot of people do. I get it. For as many reasons as I could say he's not, there are as many reasons as you could say he is. And that's fair. I will say, in my opinion, though, right? I can't deny the fact that when he comes out there, he gets a lot of people excited, right? He's got he's got a certain charisma about himself, the way he talks and all this stuff. It makes people like want to pay attention to him, right? A lot of people, maybe not everybody, right? But a large percentage. So he goes away, people would boo him or whatever, he leaves. But then he comes back and everybody's all excited, like, oh my God, hey, it's John Cena. People stand up like, like, I'm not even here to see this guy, but wow, look at that, John Cena, right here in front of me. So I get it, right? But he has that thing going on. He puts on some pretty decent matches. It's almost like The Miz, right? It's not going to be any crazy high flying and make you think, oh my God, he's defying gravity and doing all this. But it's enough for what he does, right? It's enough. So he's got that going on. His shirt selection is kind of terrible, merchandise-wise, so he's definitely could use some work in that area. But overall, like, yeah, I got no problems with him. Also, he's been pretty funny. When I saw him at San Diego Comic-Con promoting Bumblebee, and he was a lot funnier than I expected him to be. Same thing goes for The Miz, and same thing goes for Dolph Ziggler. They were there, I think it was the year before. And otherwise, yeah, I got no problems with the John Cena dude. I think he's rated where he should be, personally, right? But I get it. For a while, I was with you. I was like, why is this John Cena guy like always around? Like, what's the deal with that? And what's the deal with Penda's foot? Is it broken? It's got a weird thing going on here. Because they had this like sideways articulation thing going, but I don't know what's up with his. I'll deal with that later. So, didn't you, like, you already asked me my favorite? Well, actually, no, you didn't. You asked me a different thing that was just similar. Favorite all time, like I said, Undertaker. You weren't listening. I said that. But it's fine. I get you. I say a lot of crap, right? I know it because I hear it. I'm saying it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that's just nonsense. No one need to listen to all of it, and I don't blame you if you don't. But yes, I'll double down on that. Undertaker. I'm pointing to that poster that you may or may not have seen in the background of some of my videos. So let's get these things in order, shall we? So like I said, I'm looking at them all now. I'm still going to be leading off with old Penta here. I think that's the way we're going to do this. Let's see here. Up next. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Pac. Pac is going to be second. And I say that because I was looking at this here, Ray Phoenix, right? And it's done very well. I cannot find any flaws in it. The execution is just solid all around, top to bottom. However, I have a couple of these guys, of him specifically, and they always do very well. I mean, I got one right there. There's, I think, two in my bedroom or something like that. So it's good, but like it's nothing new. But this is better in a way because it's a nice upgrade to the last one. It's got like a little more color to them, better face things. So yeah, it's just better. So after that, I probably have to say, yeah, this is kind of tough because there's a toss up between these two, like the Thunder Rosa and the Ray Phoenix. So I think taking away like the ones that I have multiples of already or whatever, I think I am gonna have to give it to the Ray Phoenix because give putting these two both in the same category is like things that I already have and like it's well done. But I think just taking these two and just only comparing them against each other, this one just looks better. Even though I'm a big fan of this colorway, the black and the gold, black and the yellow, whatever, I think the Ray Phoenix just comes out better. So we're looking at Penta, Pac, Phoenix, Thunder Rosa. After that, we're gonna have CM Punk, right? As much as I like this dude, this figure is kind of just not anything special to me, right? It's nice to have, but I don't have that personal nostalgia or whatever for figures of this nature. So it's just something there, you know. Now, I will say I bought this series like hoping, making sure I got it before they sold out because I didn't know if like they were going to discontinue his figures when he stopped working there or anything. Because sometimes people can be petty like that. So he was a driving force for me to buy this set, but he is not the one that's making me like it. That's for sure. And then last, but well, I guess also least, would be the Hook figure, right? Because again, it's just I just can't get behind this one. It looks accurate, like it's done very well. Like the face sculpting is good. You know, it's even the one time when I was able to find, not the one time, I found other chases. I found the Riho one and the Darby Allin. So I did also get the chase as well too, sure. So that's cool, but I mean, it being a chase doesn't make it a better figure. It just makes it a nice, more like a little more special of a feeling to have it. So yeah, there you go. He's gonna have to come in last. It's not a bad figure. It's just compared to the other ones, I just like it the least. So there you go. There's that. I'm gonna go start wrapping this thing up. My bad. He says, "Hey, don't worry about it, man. It happens." Like I said, I say a lot of crap. You don't have to listen to all of it. I wouldn't. But I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this thing up. In the meantime, if you guys have questions that you want me to answer before I leave, please start getting those typed in there or whatever, because I get that it might take you a minute if you're watching this on a phone or something. It might take you a second to type something out, or maybe you're distracted and you're gonna have to like get back over here to your laptop and stuff so you can type in whatever. I just want to let you guys know, have this little warning of sorts that I'm done, right? Because I've covered all the stuff that I needed to cover. And if you don't think of any questions right now, keep them in the back of your mind if something pops up later, because I have 3 more sets that I need to do, right? Is it 3 or 2? I don't know. At least 2. There's definitely at least 2 for sure stacks of other AEW figures in my room over there. So I'm going to sit down and unbox those, do this whole thing all over again, right? So don't worry too much about it if you have about coming up with some kind of thing to ask. And it doesn't have to be on any particular topic or anything. You know, you can ask me about, I don't know, gargoyles and why it took me so long to find that Lexington figure. But either way, from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Finally able to sit down and start doing my wrestling things because getting all those shoe videos. I don't know if you guys are subscribed or whatever, or if you just happen to stumble in here. But over the last month, I have been sitting in there tinkering away, editing, and then doing more editing because I had 43 videos to put up in the last week. So it was a lot. It was a lot to do. There's a lot of pictures being taken, a lot of on feets being shot, and a lot of me staring at Adobe Premiere and yeah, and the YouTube screen. So now that that's behind me, thank God, I can sit down and talk about some of the other stuff that's a little easier, right? It takes a lot less effort, the wrestling things do. Though I do plan on doing actual recorded reviews because they come out better than these lives and stuff. I just want to do the live to at least sit down and get this stuff open and talk about it, interact with the people, because I can't really interact with people a whole lot in the comment section because it's like I don't like to type a whole lot, so I usually keep short answers. So that's why I like to do this and leave the floor open for the questions. All right. And so Mr. Fletcher says I answered all the questions. And then William says, thanks for the entertainment of my night. I really enjoy your content and the reviews and overall just like your personality. Much appreciated. That's the one thing I was kind of rambling about that in another setting recently. Like, that's the one thing that you can bring to the table in this YouTube thing, because everybody's always, not everybody, but a lot of people always like want to get into the YouTube thing and like be the next so and so. Oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. Like, anybody can get out there and spend X amount of money and just buy stuff and just be out there. But people may not care if you suck as a person. And that just kind of is a deterrent, if you will. Not saying I'm amazing, but I try to offer some amount of personality to make up for the lack of things that I actually have to talk about that are worth hearing about. And from what I've seen, it seems to go over all right. I mean, people still show up and subscribe and watch this nonsense, right? So that's cool. Definitely appreciate it when it happens, because it's just still, I've been doing this almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years on the 21st. Well, technically it'll be 5 years on the 6th, because on the 6th is like when I actually started recording. But it's still surprising to me that people find this, watch it, and then want to see more of it. It's weird. It's very weird to me, and I say that in all sincerity. It just blows my mind. It really does. But anyway, so thanks again for everybody stopping in. Like I said, I'll be doing this again probably in a couple days, talking about whatever the last two, well, the previous two AEW Unrivaled series are, I think. I don't know. I'll have to see, but there will be something about it. Thanks again for showing up. There's so many other things you guys could be doing right now. And please go ahead and do those other things. They're probably a little more productive. But I don't take this lightly, not at all. So I'll see you guys around maybe. We'll see what happens. Later, people.